Welcome to episode 32 of Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O, a Sweet 16 edition of the podcast. We're going to get into, we made our predictions for the Final Four in the last episode, but obviously, a lot has changed. We have some coaching changes as well, and just our thoughts on where we think the tournament is heading if we're changing our minds on some of that. But first of all, Johnny, who's our title sponsor?
We got Estate Jewelry and Loan. Something old, something new. Estate Jewelry has a great selection of new and estate jewelry, and you can really find a unique piece for any occasion. Brian Demore, his showroom is beautiful and has lots to choose from. It's a very cool little local jewelry store. Estate Jewelry, diamonds, and watches. Check them out at 2511 Battleground Ave and also at estateJewelryLoan.com. And also Salsarita's Fresh Mexican Grill, located in the High Point at the Palladium and in Greensboro in the Target Shopping Center on New Garden Road. Food truck, catering, daily specials. That's salsaritas.com. Salsaritas.com.
All right. Takeaways from the first weekend of March Madness. A little less madness, and, it seemed like the power conferences are dominating. And I think some of the reason for that, and I think a lot of people would agree, is the NIL transfer portal. What do you think?
Oh, no doubt about it. And of course, the SEC is just dominating right now with where they got 7 schools in the Sweet 16 out of the 14 that they had. But it's all about the NIL right now.
When you put 63 SEC teams in, you're going to get a lot in the Sweet 16.
But a couple of surprises, which is kind of cool. And I'll start off real quick. My St. John's team, is that your dog or what?
It's my kids. No, it's my dog. Go ahead. Bye.
Got a dog situation on Jared P's end, of course. Never on my end. There's never a problem on my end.
Well, you're in your 60s and you don't have anything in your house.
I have just, limited resources over here, and I'm happier than hell to have that, man.
Telling you, dude. She does head bark all day. I swear, they just know when the podcast is happening. I swear.
But yeah, St. John's got beat. That was one hell of a game, and those are, 2 of my top coaches, but Calipari is my favorite coach of all time. So it was bittersweet because I really picked St. John's. I thought they were going to go quite a ways through this tournament, but I'm happy for Calipari, and look at him, man. Arkansas first year, he's in the Sweet 16.
I mean, there's an argument that Arkansas shouldn't have made the tournament. I mean, were they 8-10 in the SEC and started the season 0-5. They had some injuries, but the dude, I think he got a rap of not being able to coach in Kentucky. So UMass and Memphis, like, this guy can coach.
Oh yeah.
He goes to Kentucky and he has the best roster every year between him and Duke, pretty much. Sometimes North Carolina, sometimes Kansas, but every year, number 1 recruiting class, and he won 1 championship in 14 years, 12 years, something like that. And so I think some people are thinking, like, maybe he's just a good recruiter. No, Duke can coach.
He can coach. And you know what? And I really believe him. I mean, he's a pretty sincere guy. I love listening to him talk. Championships, he wants to win championships, of course. But, man, he has taken care of all those recruits that he has gotten over all those years because they're all freaking multi-millionaires now. And you know what? He helped them get to that point. So I think he's one of the best coaches ever. Yeah. I really do. So, but the Sweet 16, let's talk a little bit about it. What do you think? Your BYU team is still in the game.
That's what I was going to mention. As a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we say the title, not Mormon anymore, but they're fun to watch. It reminds me of every church ball team I've been on. Majority random white dudes. Although they have a good mix. They have a good mix of talent and people from all over the world. European players, people from Africa. I mean, they have African American players, white players. But a lot of white dudes that shoot threes. And it reminds me of being a teenager at church, and you'd have a bunch of dudes that play other teams that they should lose to, but they can shoot the three and they share the ball. They play, fundamental basketball. They have one of their guards is a freshman, and he's like 6'8", 6'9", and so he gives a lot of length on defense. And they're a long team.
That's key. That's great.
And I think they might struggle with a more physical team, but as long as they're hitting their threes, this team could go to. I think they could go to the Final Four. They can have 4 shooters out there that all can shoot from NBA range.
Yeah.
The problem, though, you live by the 3, you die by the 3.
You die by the 3. Well, they're playing Alabama, so that is going to be a track meet, man.
Yes.
Don't turn your head because you'll probably miss about 2 or 3 shots. So I'm looking forward to that game, and I think that. I think Alabama is a great team, and BYU's got their hands full with that, but not a bad matchup for them. It could go. If they, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 96-92 in that game. So it could be interesting.
Yeah, it should be the highest scoring game of this upcoming weekend. And Alabama, they took out the Tar Heels last year in the Sweet 16. It was a close game down to the wire. And they out Carolina last year with old school, where they're running up and down. You make a basket on them, and they're already down, doing a layup. I like their style of basketball. I think if any team left in the tournament can beat them besides a 1 seed, I'm talking about Alabama, it is BYU.
Yeah. So another game on that Thursday. What I hope you watched it yesterday. That Maryland game that you watched yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Woo! Oh my God, those last 2 shots were fantastic. That was March Madness.
Yeah.
Like we know it, man. It was great. But they play Florida. So Maryland and Florida is a great matchup too, because Maryland's going in with some confidence.
They are. And the guy did travel, but it's fine. It was a great shot. That shot, Queen, right?
Yeah.
He was, fading. He's right-handed, fading to his left, clock running out off of glass. That is not an easy shot.
Use the board. Oh my God. I was a basketball player, in grammar school and high school and all that. My father could get vocal in the stands, but all positive vocal and when he got vocal, I could hear him, man. And if I didn't like a shot like that from the, the what do you call it? From the, not really the corner, but what do you call it? Like the I don't know.
Yeah,
the flank or whatever.
Yeah.
If I try to swish it, use the board. That's what he would say. Use the board. That's what it's there for, And I swear, I used it, and it would go in. Not, you use the board, you're going to have a better chance of doing it. But no, that shot was perfect, and that was reminiscent of that for sure.
Yeah, Tim Duncan definitely was smiling somewhere.
Oh, Mr. Fundamental.
The big fundamental. And that shot, forgive me for not remembering the Colorado State guy's name, was
Clayton.
It barely hit the net.
I know.
It's a great 3-point shot in clutch. But the first thing I thought was too much time left. And it is surprising they didn't double team their best. They didn't double team Maryland's best player. They gave him a free run to the basket. Kind of. It was a great shot though. That was a tough shot. And when you get 3 steps.
What's kind of cool is, I didn't realize it because actually I never watched Maryland this year, but Angel Reese's brother's on that team. Did you hear that?
No.
Yeah, the 6'10", 6'11" guy. He had 15 or 16 points. That's Angel Reese's brother.
Does he think he's the best player in college basketball?
Well, my buddy Phil Papier, he went to Maryland. He's my golf buddy, and of course, he called me after the game. He said, "Oh my God, it was great." I said, "Angel Reese's brother. I didn't know he played on a team." He said, "He's just as cocky as she is," and so I go, "Oh my God." So it runs in the family.
No, that's great. No, some other takeaways from March Madness is, Tom Izzo is Tom Izzo. They were looking rough early in the game. They're down 10 fast.
Yeah.
And they got off to a slow start. And I was with some friends last night. And one of my friends, he doesn't follow basketball as close as he used to. He's more a football guy. And he goes, "Do you think Michigan State," but he gambles a lot. He said, "Do you think Michigan State," I didn't know why he's asking me at first. I was like, oh, because he's going to place a bet. Do you think Michigan State's going to come back? I said, but any team's going to come back and figure a way to come back down 10. It's going to be Tom Izzo and Michigan State. And then they kind of easily won towards the end of the game. But, Michigan State is always a tough out in, the tournament.
They are. No, he always has them ready. But Maryland's got tough. Florida still looks good. They had some trouble, but look out for Florida. And they're still, to me, I don't, maybe that helped them, that close game, but we shall see. That's going to be a tough game. The next one on that Thursday night is Arizona and Duke. How about Caleb Love with 29 last night?
You know what? It's so funny. My son, Eli's 13, and he keeps saying this one person's name, and it's the Kelly girl that RJ Davis was dating. And then the rumor is, it's been substantiated, everywhere. The rumor is then, RJ and Caleb, same backcourt, 3 points away from winning a national championship against Kansas. They both had bad shooting night that night, but then cheating allegations that Caleb was cheating with RJ Davis's girlfriend, and she was a player at Carolina. Now she's the Oregon, and she had a great game the other night too. But anytime she posts a video, it can be a video about her walking her dog. Every comment is, "You ruined the best backcourt in the country." It's been 2 years now, and they're still saying it. So, but I was just thinking, man, think about Carolina.
I thought about it.
Caleb Love and RJ Davis, and then the rest of that squad. That's a tough out, man. That's the best backcourt in the country.
And like you're saying, I mean, and I was thinking about that because not too many players stick around that long, and they both have stuck around. If they played together for the 4 years or 12 years, whatever, how long RJ's been there, that would have been special, But I guess they just couldn't, I don't know. I mean,
I did behind the scenes. My friend Matt that works on a show, Jared and Katie in the Morning. He's our producer and on air. He's a huge Carolina fan. He was at some event and he was talking to, I won't say the player's dad. It wasn't RJ Davis's dad. It was somebody else's dad. And this was after they lost to Kansas, and they're like saying, what's going on? And basically there's an ultimatum, like either Caleb goes or I go. RJ's like, I can't play with him anymore. So he's become a cancer in the locker room. He obviously is, breaking bro code. I mean, they're young dudes. Like, I'm not trying to judge anybody, but not cool at all. And his girlfriend too holds responsibility. Like, if it's all true, it's a rumor. But I mean, this dad was like, because of that, he's like, RJ Davis is like, either he goes or it was an ultimatum. And so that was, and so they picked RJ because he's not a headache.
Now, I'm just going to, we don't have to talk about North Carolina anymore, but I've just got to mention this. I think Ole Miss showed that Carolina did not belong in the tournament this year. Okay. I know they won that little play-in game, which wasn't even a quad one victory. They ended up 1-13 quad one, and because Ole Miss just dominated. That was a good comeback, but it's always too late.
They came back and they're down two. Carolina's down 2 with 40 seconds to go.
I know they had chances. They had many chances, man.
We missed 7 layups in that game. 7. I'm not talking about like contested. The announcers were like, "What if Carolina could finish it? They'd be up." They
would have been. But Ole Miss looks tough. Look out for they could make a little bit of noise. They got Michigan State. So, they played Michigan State.
I know you're being facetious, but you just disproved your point.
What?
Ole Miss could go to the Final Four, and Carolina was with 2 points with 3 seconds to go. It proved that Carolina should have been in the tournament.
They were getting beat by 25
Ole Miss
points.
Carolina game was a microcosm.
I look at that game as they got beat by 25 points. But anyway, let's move on. Okay, we got now Duke in Arizona. I'm hoping it's a good game.
You look at the Patriots.
Say that again.
You look at the Patriots Falcons as that you say the Patriots and Falcons. The Falcons won by 25.
We're done talking about the Tar Heels. They're not in the tournament. My team's not in the tournament.
Syracuse didn't sniff the tournament.
We'll be there next year.
Cunningham's not on the thing.
We got a lot going on now. But the Arizona Duke game, I'm hoping is going to be a classic. I did pick Duke in my regular brackets to get to the Sweet 16, but I do have Arizona beating Duke, so we shall see. But man, Duke does look good.
Well, when you're a Carolina fan, I don't know if you feel this way. I don't know if you
What?
feel this way, but because you're a Syracuse fan, like maybe you don't feel this way because you're not at, North Carolina, the greatest rivalry in sports. But my only thing now that Carolina's out of the tournament is I want Duke to lose. It ain't about the ACC. Every other ACC, if Syracuse was in the tournament, I'd be like, let's go. I want them to win. But
I'm the
Duke,
same way.
I can't stand them. So that's the only. I mean, I love basketball, but I just want Duke to lose.
I won't enjoy the tournament until Duke gets out of the tournament. Seriously,
we can agree on that.
Oh, absolutely. Arkansas, Texas Tech. I think Calipari's going to get Arkansas to the Elite Eight, and then I don't know what's going to happen, but that'd be a great game. But those are 4 great games on that Thursday night. You think Arkansas has a shot at beating Texas Tech? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know a lot about Texas Tech, but I know I've heard some people say they're their dark horse to win the national championship. I'm like, I haven't heard anything about them all year. Obviously, they're a solid team, but yeah.
But they're beatable. They're a 3 seed, so they're tough. And then Friday, you got the Ole Miss Michigan State game. That could be a rough and that's going to be a tough game for both of those teams. That should be a war. These matchups are fantastic as I'm looking at them, man. Oh my gosh, Kentucky and Tennessee. Kentucky's back in the this Coach Mark Pope. First year's got them as a 3 seed, and they're in the Sweet 16. That's
and where did he coach last year?
Where BYU. Did he coach?
BYU.
Oh, he was at BYU.
Yeah,
wow. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then you got Michigan and Auburn. Okay.
This is one.
I love Auburn all year long, but there's something missing, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I had the stat last week, they lost 3 of their last 4 games. Granted, it was in the very powerful SEC, which I'm getting sick and tired of people like already forgetting that the ACC has been so dominant for the last 40 years. We have one down year, and they're like, the SEC's the great. And they have had a great year, let's be honest here. But no team has won a national championship that's lost 3 of the last 4 games. They're just when a 1 seed typically against 16, if they're not winning by 30 or 40, I'm like, that's a red flag.
It is.
In the round of, then there was a fairly close game for a little bit in the round of 32. They have not looked impressive. They have not looked like Auburn did a month ago, where you're like, can anyone beat them?
Agree.
I don't know what's going on with them. I don't see, unless they revert back to the way they were, I don't see them winning it.
And I would like to see them win it all, to be honest with you. I'm just a Bruce Pearl guy. And then the other matchup, Purdue, they beat McNeese State, that we can talk about in a little bit about the coach and stuff. But Purdue and Houston, I'm starting to be a believer in Houston. What about you?
Yeah, they have great guard play. They play terrific defense.
The defense is unbelievable.
Yeah, and I love Kelvin Sampson. He's from North Carolina.
Yep.
And got a raw deal, I think, in Indiana because he made too many. Think about this. He called a player. He called a player too many times. Well, that's what Indiana gets. That's why Indiana's been irrelevant for 15 to 20 years, basically.
Incredible.
Now you're paying players legally, and he was calling a player too much. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I think they just wanted him out of there. It didn't make sense. He had just got there. But I'm a believer, and they beat BYU in their conference tournament by 20. And BYU and that's one game because like when Baylor lost to Duke and like, oh, Duke beat them by 21 or whatever it was, 22. Gonzaga also beat Baylor by 40 earlier in the year. So, like, I don't know. Some of these games, sometimes you have a bad game. I don't know.
It's all about matchups too. Seriously, it's all about different matchups. It's one team plays zone, man to man. It's
all about matchups.
Just this type of basketball. That's what makes the tournament crazy. So,
I think Houston. I got them in the Final Four still. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I got Houston. I still got Houston. I got. I don't have Florida because I had St. John's beating Florida, for crying out loud, and to get to the championship. I got Arizona and I think Alabama, but It's gonna be. I can't. The Sweet 16 is a lot of fun to watch, and then the Elite Eight is just they're going to be killing each other. That's like Championship Sunday in the NFL, man, trying to get into that big game.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. But it's so far the tournament's been great, but it's going to be greater when the Dukies get knocked out, and I think we both agree on that, man.
Yeah, because Duke looks like a number one seed. They beat the 16 seed by like 40 something, and then they easily handled Baylor. The first 10 minutes was close, and then it was a blowout after that.
Yeah.
So they're doing what they should be doing. And if I were a fan, like I look back to when Carolina's won national championships in the first few rounds, for the most part, they're usually blowing teams out, and it's easy. And then it gets tighter though as you get closer, with a few exceptions. I think UConn was an exception last year where they beat everyone by double digits, and then Carolina in 2009 beat everyone by double digits. But that's very rare.
Yeah.
I think Arizona, I just want Arizona to play well. I don't want to play stupid. But the thing about Duke that no one's talking about, I don't think, is like Proctor is shooting 77%
on fire
from two and like 55% from three.
He's not missing. Yep.
Knople, or whatever how you say his stupid name. To me, so far in the tournament, Cooper Flagg's the third best player on that team as far as production. We know he's the best player.
Right.
I mean, anyone would start a team with him. But as far as just, if you didn't know anything about the team, you would say Proctor's their best player, Knopel's their second best player, and they got this tall kid that's good too.
Yep. No, that I mean, you and I, we don't like them, but we know they're damn good, man. And it's that like you just mentioned that what's his name, Knipple. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's awesome.
If Flagg was not on that team, okay, just they had somebody else, some 11-point scorer or whatever, Knipple would be averaging 28 and probably 11 rebounds and just be dominate, and probably be number one pick in the NBA because he's a solid 6'8", man. He's a big boy.
Good.
Yeah,
I like him a lot. I did look because sometimes we, I guess we can consider ourselves analysts. We are now, but and we have been for years. But other analysts on the big networks is sometimes we overthink it. Like Duke, more people pick Duke to win in their brackets than anyone else, and that makes sense. And then it was Florida, then Auburn. But I looked up today. Duke, as of right now, has 3 of the projected top 10 NBA picks this year. They have 4 of the top 24, and they have 7 projected players if they leave to be drafted. And no other team has more than 2 or 3.
How about that?
And I'll give you another nugget. Usually you're a nugget guy.
I know it.
What happened with Rutgers? Maybe I missed something. They have 2 of the top 4 projected lottery picks as freshmen on their team, and they had a horrible season. They didn't make the tournament. How do you have 2 of the top 4 players in the country, and they lost like 16, 17 games in kind of a not great Big East. But anyway. But yeah,
no. They're in the Big Ten. Believe it or not,
you're right. Sorry, Big Ten.
That's crazy. Which is a tough. They were very
good.
You're
right.
But when you got 2 out of your 5 players like that, that's the coach isn't setting up that team to build around that. So something's missing there.
Unless I missed an injury or something. But 2, they're projected number 2 and 4 pick in the draft behind Cooper Flagg. But yeah, Duke has 7 NBA caliber players. If the draft were to happen today, that would be drafted, and no one else has more than 2. So no wonder they're, looking so great.
Oh yeah,
and that's part of it.
Oh no, absolutely. And Shire's doing a great job. Again, we don't like them, but they are one hell of a basketball team. But
and they play tough defense. Yeah, I respect that.
Hey, let me mention the other advertisers, our sponsors. Pure Energy Fitness, fairly new. Blaze Thompson has spent 25 years helping everyone from beginners to pro athletes build strength, resilience, and lifelong fitness through smart functional training. At Pure Energy, they prepare you for the seasons of life by igniting your pure energy. 1 rep at a time from inside out. Go to pureenergyfitness.com, and it's located in Greensboro, right off of Lawndale Drive. that second show that I'm doing, during the week now, I'm going to have him on for about Blaze Thompson for about a 5 or 10 minute segment, just kind of tell us what he does. So that'll be kind of interesting.
Absolutely.
We have Imperial Marketing Solutions, sale of equipment, sales of new reconditioned computer, IT hardware, reconditioned equal to brand spanking new. Jimmy Snow gives a 3-year warranty, out-of-state drop ship, and payment terms available. Call Jimmy Snow at 315-345-8349. And then we got Shank and Torrance Insurance, located in Greensboro, but they serve the entire Triad and state. Brian Torrance specializes in personal insurance, including auto, homeowners, and life insurance. Call Brian at 336-310-1320 for all your insurance needs. And we got a couple more, actually. We got Live Hydration Spa. Live Hydration Spa provides premier treatments for their clients to achieve optimal levels of health and wellness. The IV nutrition program has been proven to be one of the most effective ways to improve overall wellness, tailored to boost energy, hydration, improve circulation, decrease inflammation, and improve mental focus. Go to livehydrationspa.com or call them at 336-707-2796. What do you got?
I got Surf Hippie Fishing, surfhippiefishing.com, all your fishing apparel, fishing needs, fishing tournaments. They got a great Facebook page as well. And that's fishing with a PH. We also have Elite Performance Chiropractic with former NFL player Jeremy Phillips, former guest on the show. State-of-the-art technology, techniques that get you back better than ever. 2 locations, Greensboro and Winston-Salem. Did I forget somebody? Did we got everybody? I think that's everybody.
That's it. You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, let's talk a little bit. Let's be a little quick on this. I don't want to get you all wound up and get your blood pressure up, for crying out loud. But Danny Hurley of the Yukon Huskies lost yesterday, and he didn't take it very well. What'd you think of his little outburst as he walked through the tunnel?
I did not think that I could hate a coach more than I did Coach K. I did not think I could hate a program more than I hate Duke. But UConn is pretty close, and it's not anything to do with their players. It is Danny Hurley, the biggest jerk in all of sports. All of sports. Oh. He's a sore loser. He's a sore winner. He's arrogant. He takes a lot of the credit. And he's a crybaby. He was crying, then he's crying after the game. He's all over the place. Now, is he a good coach? Of course he is.
Yep.
But he is so arrogant. He doesn't take anything well. And everyone's like, oh, UConn had that game. No, they didn't. They were down by like 8 points with like 2 minutes to go. Yes, they had a comeback that kind of got it closer. They played him close most of the game. And, of course, he's a great X's and O's guys, and he's a motivator. The team plays hard. They play smart. He's a jerk. I mean, he is the biggest brat in all of sports. And so, yeah, I mean, I did not think I could despise a program more. Oh, you see their program is threatening. UConn's threatening to sue the reporter who posted that video when he said to one of the Baylor coaches, hope they don't F you as bad as they F'd us about the refs. He's not suing. He said, if you post it, I'll ruin your life. That's what the communications director allegedly said to the reporter. And the reporter's talking about today, and the UConn's threatening to sue him for posting the video. Like, what's with that program?
I hear you. Well, I'm on the other side a little bit. He's got that Northeast mentality, which, I grew up with. Okay. But now don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm a good guy, man. I'm not that New York.
Oh, yeah. That's not you. No, you're like a Dean Smith type personality. Yeah.
But he takes it to the next level. There is no doubt in my mind, but I like him, man. I don't know what it is. I like the guy. He's fiery. He does. I mean, he's a sore loser. I mean, he just won 13 straight NCAA games. Okay. Yeah. 2 national championships. I was a little disappointed by him doing that, walking by the Baylor players and blaming the refs. I watched the game. I was rooting for UConn. I wanted UConn to win. I didn't see the refs, screw them at all, to be honest with you. And then when he did that, I'm like, come on, man, don't do that. But, certain coaches do that. Now, I don't think he's at that Bobby Knight level yet, okay? But he's getting damn close. He really is. And he's got to just settle down. I mean, on the sidelines, he's a wild man, which I enjoy. That's okay, as long as he doesn't, do something really stupid. But I like him. I'm still going to root for him. I'm kind of, I kind of jumped on that little bit of UConn and go, just because of the Big East and I'm from up in that area and all that. But he's got to settle down. So I disagree with you on some of the things because I do like him, but I do agree with what you're saying. I mean, he does look like an ass sometimes. There's no doubt about it.
He didn't look like one. He is one. But he's one of those guys that everyone probably could agree on this. They can't stand him, but would they want them as their program's coach? Yeah. I would fire Hubert Davis today for Hurley. But I still think he's annoying, but he gets good players. He gets the most out of his players. It ain't going to be – did you hear this? I don't know, I'm a Carolina fan, but this is kind of a big deal. George Lynch, who's in the 1993 Carolina basketball
I remember him.
Yeah, with Derek Phelps and Eric Montross, all those guys. And he was on a podcast with Theo Pinson, formerly of Carolina. And he spilled the tea. That's what young people say, by the way. Johnny, you can ask your daughter.
Continue on with your crap, please.
It's like Sanford and Son, where the black cop would explain.
So how do you know that's what the young people
how
say?
The white cop would explain, and they would explain what they're saying to each other. Yeah, I know. I don't know how. I got young kids. That's why. No, but he was saying he went to practice. He goes to Carolina practices every summer. And he said some major red flags that he saw. And George Lynch has never been controversial ever, but he was in a podcast. He was talking about it. Very straightforward. He goes, one, no players there early for practice. He said, when we played here with Dean Smith, we were there early. We had gym rats. Shammond Williams was after his time. Shammond Williams lived in the gym. Derek Phelps lived in the gym. Eric Montross, all those guys working on their craft. Tyler Hansbrough lived in the gym. Said the team has 0 gym rats. RJ Davis might have been early in his career there, but 0. He said they all have NIL deals. He said, I know they have cars, but no one can be early for practice. 2, they said they don't practice. He said there's no player development. He said they're just running pick and roll. He said most players didn't know where to go. And this is players have been in the system for a couple of years. They're not – the guards didn't know where to go. The bigs weren't, diving to the lane hard. He said Elliot Cadeau, and he said no, nothing against him, but everything in practice he did was not game shots. He's not taking game shots. So he gets into a game. He's doing what he does in practice, and he can't make a shot. He said these are all things that are indicative of why this team is woefully inconsistent, and there's no one there that's a dog. There's no one there that's a gym rat. There's no one there that, like, I think there's a couple guys that have some pieces, like a Seth Trimble is kind of that way. Yeah. But he said nobody was there early. He said it's a big change. He said and nobody cares because of the money who Hubert Davis is. And he said, I love Hubert. No one cares who Hubert Davis is. And their time might have overlapped in Chapel Hill. He says they don't care. They don't care about the name on the jersey, half the players. It's about the money, and that's it, and their playing time. And if they don't get it, they don't care.
Everything has changed. It really has, and it's a shame. It really is. But that's our world right now, my friend. That's our world.
Yeah. So, but the tournament's turning out to be what we want. We have basically chalk going into the Sweet 16 with a few exceptions, but also good, and some teams that are well coached and they have players that are playing hard, and that's great. That's great to see.
Well, let me tell you something. The mid-majors and the Cinderella teams, they're gone because there's no money in the mid-majors, and it's just not going to happen. And that sucks, man. I mean, I'm sure you enjoyed, some of those runs by Florida, whatever, Gulf Coast. Remember that run? That was all that kind of good stuff, but gone.
It would have been great to see a High Point do that, or even McNeese.
Oh. God, I just wanted one win, man. I thought they could give Purdue a game, but Purdue's playing good basketball, so they ran into a buzzsaw.
Well, and then I guess to finish, speaking of McNeese State, Will Wade, their coach, is now the coach at NC State.
Yep.
Which I talked to some friends of mine are NC State fans, and they're super excited about it. But they also, because they're State fans, are like, but let's wait and see. Because we were excited about Keats. Keats was, winning 30 games a year at UNCW, goes there and up and down,
This is different.
Will Wade was probably paying players at LSU allegedly before you could pay players.
Exactly.
And so he knows how to pay players. Now it's legal. he's an excellent coach. I
Yep.
think it's a great hire, and they have the best equipment manager in the game. He
Oh,
transferred.
you stole my thunder, man.
Oh, my bad.
That's the biggest hire that NC State got right there, man. I mean, that dude is cool as hell. I love it. That is so cool. They came as a team, man. Will Wade, and so that's kind of. I know you're a Carolina guy, but State is getting that's going to bring excitement to that RBC Center, whatever it's called, man. So that's good stuff, and it's always good when NC State is halfway decent.
And as a Carolina fan, because we don't consider them a rival, real Carolina fans don't.
Right.
Older ones do, because they're not competitive. They start winning more, then maybe Duke's our rival. That's it. But
Will Wade he'll make some noise. And the other couple other ones, Xavier Sean Miller goes to Texas, and Texas pays. I mean, they're throwing money at him. And then the other one is Drake, and that team that team was real. Okay. Yeah. Their coach McCollum is going to Iowa, so they're dropping and going and this and that. It's freaking Monday, man. After the round of 32, and it's crazy. And the portal started. How about the portal starting today?
What do you think about that? Here it is, Monday. It's in the middle of the tournament. Oh, you get interrupted?
No.
Oh, is that the first time ever?
Well, no, my phone's over here. I'm on the laptop. I'm not being interrupted. I just had to shut it off.
That's a mini interruption. That's the Johnny interruption. Mine is my house is going to crash. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Or like the thing shuts down and my dog's in the kitchen. My dog has been in the kitchen with me the whole time after it stopped barking. It hasn't barked once. As soon as the podcast starts, it was like, and I'm like, we live in a cul-de-sac. There's no one over here. Anyway.
Good stuff.
Transfer portal, what do you think, Johnny? Opening on a Monday. I mean, opening during the tournament.
Doesn't make sense.
No. That's not fair.
Come on. So how did they come up with that? Okay, yeah, let's do this on March, whatever it is, the day. No. Oh my gosh. I mean, that means players have been talking to other schools and coach. Yeah. Forget it.
Well, Bruce Pearl, they said, I think Auburn, 4 of their 5 starters are from the transfer portal. So they're going to be like, somebody suggested that this is a possibility. It probably won't happen, but it could happen where a player says, I'm entering the transfer portal, and I think there's some rule, then they can no longer play on the team. And so like they were saying that it's a real possibility. Let's say somebody on Auburn's like, they're offering me $5 million and I got to decide today. They wouldn't do that to them. It technically could happen where a player could be out of the tournament to go in the transfer portal.
That would destroy college basketball if something like that happens. Oh my God. But
although Cooper Flagg should do it.
All right, man. Let's sign off. Another good show. Appreciate it.
We'll get it posted right away.
You got it.